Story 1. AATA for refusing to help my sister out when I'm the only person in our family she lives close to and she has children. I, 31F, have not spoken to my sister in 10 years after she had an affair with my ex. I was with my ex from the age of 15 until we were 20. My sister was 19 at the time and the affair had been ongoing. Most likely, they started the affair not that long after my sister turned 18. My ex was the same age as me. My ex proposed to me while we were together. My sister was helping with that and encouraging me to marry him before he proposed. This was so he would be around and they could keep sleeping together. We got engaged and a few months later my sister told me I couldn't marry him because she was pregnant with his child. She tried to salvage a relationship with me and asked me to understand and not be mad at her. I told her she was disgusting and I would never forgive her. I also told our parents what she had done. I saw my sister once after her first child was born, a year or so after I had learned about the affair. She told me she missed me and she wanted her daughter to know her aunt. She tried her best to get me to at least agree to a relationship with her daughter, but I told her it was not possible and I was still not going to forgive her, and I told her not to talk to me again. My parents and extended family also stopped talking to her when she started dating him for real, and they only resumed contact after they broke up. They then supported her because of the kids. My parents couldn't bring themselves to turn their backs on their grandkids or to sever the relationship forever. I was fine with it because I do understand. But her having kids was not an incentive for me to repair things. I'm now happily married and a mom myself. A few weeks ago, my parents called and told me that my sister has been living 20 minutes from me for the last 2 years. They know I don't want to talk about her, so until this point they had not. She moved out of state for a job, and then she lost the job and her landlord had told her she needed to be out in 60 days because he was repurposing the house. Without her original job and with no support network here, she had turned to them. She didn't want to pull her kids away from the place they were used to now, and so my parents decided I should be the one to help. They told me if I could help her by putting her in touch with people for a job and maybe another rental, it would be so amazing. They wanted me to step in before the 60 days was up. I refused to help and told them I will never do a single thing for her again. They pleaded with me to reconsider and told me to think of the kids. They asked me if I really hated my sister that much, and I said yes. I told her it would be bad enough to be the affair partner, but to encourage me to get engaged and help him plan it while they were cheating behind my back was such a low thing to do. I said the fact she stayed long enough to have another child with him also showed how little she really cared about me. They told me to be a better person than this. Ida? Story 2. AATA for adopting my sister? Not the a-hole. Introduction. I, 20M, lived with my father and stepmother who was way younger. They got married 10 years ago and had a kid, Victoria, 9F. About a year ago, father and stepmother sadly died in a car crash, leaving me and my sister all the benefits and burdens. Luckily, they had insurance. Everything was not as easy as it should have been. My sister at this point had no official guardian, and underage kids can't make a financial decision with inheritance, meaning that we had a house, a car, a small loan, credit cards, and no legal rights to do anything with that. At this point, I was not ready to deal with it all immediately as there was a funeral to organize with the help of our grandparents. Story. When we were driving back from the funeral, my sister was crying and I assumed it was because of the obvious reason. But at one point she said, "I don't want to live with my grandparents," her mother's parents. And I was shocked from this new information. As it turned out, her grandmother was already moving on with paperwork to adopt my sister and told my sister that, which they can legally do, but I did not want to lose my sister too as my grandparents lived in another county. I also applied for guardianship of my sister and made her grandparents very mad. My stepmother's parents never liked my father, me, or any relatives from this side of the family. I was ready to lose as CPS sided with my sister's grandparents. Brother is just a school kid. Last week I received a decision from the court. This is translated summary from my language. The court decides to give full parental rights to the brother because breaking up an already working family dynamic is not reasonable. The kid in question already has a familiar routine, friends, school, and social life in their current home, and changing that has no benefits. The kid does not need another huge change in her life after such a big loss. At the time of making a decision, the brother is already working in a full-time job and earning enough to provide for the small family. The plaintiff's claim that going to trade school makes him less educated is not relevant. I was still in school when it all started and graduated last summer. I was offered a position in company I was intern at. The age of the brother is also not relevant as the brother is adult by law. I had tears in my eyes reading that. The judge did not care about any claims made against me and focused well-being of my sister. The judge asked my sister what she wanted and accepted that. Of course, all that caused me to be a giant asshole to the whole family from my stepmother's side. My phone is blowing up, and they claim I did it to receive full control of the money, even though like 90% of it goes to mortgage, credit cards, etc. Ida? Story 3. I ruined my boss life. Sorry, not sorry. A few years ago, I worked for a couple of months in a pastry shop. To work there, my boss promised me 8 hours a day except Mondays, half day, and Thursdays, closed, and €700 a month, obviously all off the books. Although I had some resentment about working illegally, I accepted anyway because I needed some money. The first day of work, I was in there for 11 hours. From 5:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. and then from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. I thought it was normal since it was my first day, even if in reality some doubts came to me right away because all the others had been there as much as me and for them it was certainly not the first day. The situation continued to be this, hours ranging from 10 to sometimes 13 hours a day. Furthermore, for 2 weeks in a row, on Monday, the day on which we were only supposed to work in the morning, we instead worked with the schedules of the other days. At the end of the month, I asked for my well-deserved salary and my boss got angry telling me that I was only thinking about money when in reality I hadn't even asked him to pay me for the multiple hours of overtime. He then told me that he would pay everyone at the end of the first week of the following month. The following day, after working as usual for 11 hours, at the end of the shift he called me aside telling me that since I had been presumptuous, I had to show up for work on Thursday even though it was my day off. Obviously, I got angry and replied that I had worked much longer hours than those agreed, and that I would not show up for work on my day off, and so I did. Thursday came, and I didn't show up, ignoring hundreds of calls from my boss and his wife. The next day, I showed up for work regularly and was severely reprimanded, and then sent home for bad behavior. He told me that we would meet on Sunday to give me the money, and then I didn't have to show up again, which I already wanted to do. So Sunday arrived and showed up with €300, telling me that I had done little this month and that I hadn't been respectful towards him and his business. I got very angry and also went to call my father, who was waiting for me in the car. The two almost came to blows. So I took my father and we left, saying it wasn't over there. I kept in touch with some of my colleagues, some even over 18, with whom I had established a good relationship and who also worked illegally. They told me that, the next day, he had badmouthed me, saying that I was a person without any form of respect and dignity. In Italy we say, una cosa inutile. They had witnessed the scene the previous Friday and were speechless. They thought I had to do something and not let me walk on my head like this. And they were right. So I decided to do something that no one has ever had the courage or the will to do, or rather go to finance to denounce the fact that he made most of his employees work illegally and that he exploited them by underpaying them. Obviously not alone, but with my colleagues, also tired of being exploited, to support me. So we decided on a day and time for a pop check and waited. The agreed day was Saturday morning from 9 to 10, the day and time when there was usually more workload. It goes without saying that, contrary to what is thought of in Italy, sometimes justice works, and that day finance with a surprise check discovered the whole situation and immediately closed the business. Subsequently, the owner as well as my former boss was investigated and sentenced to I don't remember how many years in prison. The business was seized and now his family is having to pay more than €1 million in tax evasion for other reasons related to false receipts and other things that I don't quite understand. Story 4. World's nicest guy gets revenge on cheating ex-fiancé by living his best life. Cast of characters. Let's call my friend Buddy. the ex-fiancée Lisa, and the hapless best friend Richard, aka Dick. As you read this story, you have to always remember that Buddy is literally the greatest guy on the planet. Dick is, well, kind of a dick, annoying as hell, but my buddy says he always means well, and his heart is in the right place. Lisa is as big of a cheating, lying, self-centered narcissist as ever walked the face of the earth. Other people are Ray, another high school friend of Buddy and Dick, Jen, Buddy's wife, and Bob and Linda, Dick's dad and mom. All the names are fake. The background. Our story begins when Buddy, Dick, and Lisa are all in middle school together at a typical suburban high school outside of Southern City. Football team, Friday night lights, etc. The three of them are all in marching band, inseparable friends. If you know band types, Buddy plays the French horn, Dick plays the tuba. IDK what Lisa played. Probably the flute because it's a cliche. Buddy and Lisa are boyfriend/girlfriend, and Dick is a happy third wheel. As they get older, Buddy and Lisa explore the physical side of their relationship, like normal high school kids do, while Dick is happy to be a player. He's decent looking, so he has no problem getting action, and also occasionally makes use of the professional women in their town. This will be important later. Buddy and Lisa, typical good students, go on to prestigious public university in Southern City. Dick drops out of high school, but a self-taught programmer, winds up with a decent career in tech. Buddy graduates college early with honors and proposes to Lisa at his graduation dinner with a small diamond because he's put himself through school and that's all he can afford. She accepts. Buddy gets a job at fancy consulting firm in prestigious city. Lisa finishes college back home in Southern City. Comes time for Lisa to graduate, Buddy helps his fiancée also get a job at fancy consulting firm. During her last spring break, she flies up to prestigious city to visit Buddy and interview for her job, gets pregnant, flies back home, tells Dick she's in trouble. He takes her to the abortion appointment. Neither of them tell Buddy. Ever. I heard about this from Buddy's wife, who heard it from Dick one night when he was drunk. As far as know, Buddy still doesn't know. Buddy, if you ever read this, sorry dude. I should have told you, but it wasn't my place. The betrayal. Lisa realizes, when she doesn't want to tell Buddy about her abortion, that she can't marry him, but she's not brave enough to break it off. Instead, she ghosts him and he finds out through the HR department of fancy consulting firm that she's turned down her job offer and won't be moving to prestigious city after all. Buddy calls Dick and Dick says, "Dude, I'm sorry, but it's worse. Lisa and I are now a couple. You can punch me in the face next time we get together." Somehow, Buddy and Dick decide that Lisa isn't worth destroying their friendship, so they stay best friends, going hunting together on Dick's family place in the country, etc. Lisa is not happy about this, but Dick tells her that if she makes him choose, he'll choose Buddy. The follow-up, Buddy takes a year or so to get over it and starts dating again. Pretty soon, he meets Jen and falls madly in love, crazy in love, and to make things better, Jen is just as crazy about him. In less than 6 months, they're engaged. Now, the thing you have to understand is that Lisa is drop-dead gorgeous. She's not tall enough to be a model, just average height, but she's got these giant blue eyes and super long eyelashes, long, shiny wavy dark brown hair, an exquisite face, and a terrific figure. She's prettier than a movie star, and being beautiful is really important to her. Jen is pretty enough, but regular, and she really and truly DGF. Dick travels to prestigious city without Lisa to meet Buddy's fiancé. He and Jen really get along. Jen gets along with everyone and reports back to Lisa that Buddy is really happy, his fiancé Jen is awesome, etc. Lisa gets jealous and pouty when she hears about Jen's Ivy League education, but then Dick makes a point of telling her that Jen is nowhere near as hot as Lisa, so she'll stop sulking, at least until she gets an invitation to the wedding. Lisa pitches a fit, refuses to go, and tries to prevent Dick from going, but there's no way in hell he'll miss his best friend's wedding, so he goes stag. NBD, it's a super small, low-key wedding. At the wedding, Dick reconnects with another high school friend of theirs, a guy named Ray, whose date to the wedding was actually someone else's wife. Ray has a thing for married women. This is important. Buddy and Jen go on living their best lives. At some point, Buddy gets an Ivy League MBA. His career takes off like gangbusters. They pop out a couple of kids. Jen quits her career to be a som. They're rich as hell, still crazy in love, and blissfully happy. A couple of times a year, the guys get together and bring their wives along. At some point, Dick and Lisa get married. Buddy and Jen are not invited to the wedding, by the way. But the women get along okay. Jen gets along with everyone, and Lisa is happy because she's thinner and prettier than Jen, especially after both women have been through pregnancy and childbirth. The years tick on. Things get complicated. One day, this is around 2008, when Buddy, Jen, and Dick are all playing WoW together. Dick gets them on TeamSpeak and tells a hell of a story. Dick and Lisa have continued to hang out with Ray, their high school friend who has a thing for married women. He's turned his eye on Lisa, who, even after 3 kids, is even hotter than she was in college. She's leaned heavily into the MILF role. Meanwhile, Dick has had enough of her nonsense. He's decided to divorce her 3 times, but each time, when he tells her, she cries and gets all pouty. They have one last time, unprotected sex. She gets pregnant, and bam, Dick and Lisa's 3 kids. Ray goes in hard with his practiced seduction routine, and Lisa cries to Dick that she just can't stand it, and can she please just have sex with Ray? They do. Dick watches, goes in for sloppy seconds, and Lisa and Dick's marriage enters its suburban swinger era. Dick gives Jen and Buddy every gory detail over the course of a 2-hour conversation while they're all killing wolves on low-level outs in Elwyn Forest, and Lisa is upstairs with a bottle of wine. It's obvious, during their next visit, that Dick wants to join in sexy fun times with Buddy and Jen, but they're not into that, and after an awkward 5 minutes, things go back to normal. The kids all play together, the women make small talk, and Buddy and Dick hang out together doing the normal things that guys do. Dick tells Buddy that the reason they're into swinging is that he gets off on watching Lisa being degraded, and Lisa gets off on making Dick feel like he isn't man enough for her. This marriage is not happy, but Dick wants to stay married, because Lisa is hot as hell, she's got a solid career, and he's a mid-level tech guy with a GED who works from home while he takes care of 3 kids, so he'll never be able to do better. Things get worse. Dick calls Buddy to chat. His marriage has gone to hell. Lisa has, in her words, met the love of her life. She's moved on from Ray and from the swinging scene and is now having an affair with a guy from the accounting department at her job. She's staying out all night. She's ignoring the kids. Dick and Lisa take the kids on a swank vacation to try to focus on their family and spends all her time crying because she misses her AP and she doesn't want to be there. She doesn't want a divorce because she knows she'll lose the kids. She's drunk all the time, and she doesn't want to have to pay Dick child support. She wants him to let her live whatever life she wants while he does all the cooking and cleaning and childcare and still brings in 50% of the household money. Lisa also will not ask a few about how she could have married Buddy and been like Jen, a som in a giant 5,000 square foot house with 6 bedrooms and a pool. I should mention that Buddy has also had a Neville Longbottom style glow up and gone from a nerdy band kid to a silver-haired super confident high-level executive in a top-tier consulting firm, whereas Dick is still the guy working from his basement in sweatpants, covered in Dorito crumbs. He has been working on himself, but there's no way he can compete in Lisa's eyes, although both Buddy and Jen tell me about Dick's great qualities. Lisa is jealous, hopping mad, and she blames Dick. Dude, trust me, I know. She is bad news. Leave her, Buddy tells his friend. It is the last conversation they will ever have. Wholly at $% this is terrible, Buddy gets a call at work one afternoon. It's Bob, Dick's dad. Dick got drunk, woke up Lisa at 3 a.m., told her that he'd never loved her, that she'd never been enough of a woman for him, that he'd been visiting prostitutes during most of their marriage, and that he hoped she would go to hell. Then, he blew his brains out in such a way that the splatter went all over her and all over the bed. When the ambulance got there, she was hysterical, sitting on the curb outside the house, screaming over and over again, Kill me too. It's all my fault. It's all my fault. Later, Bob would call Buddy to tell him that Lisa specifically says he is not welcome at the funeral. Bob and Linda, Dick's parents, step in to take care of the three little kids, who did nothing wrong and do not deserve this, while Lisa does nothing but work and drink. The coup de grace. About a year later, Buddy flies to Southern City to put flowers on Dick's grave and visit with Dick's parents, Bob and Linda. Bob is still in shock, but he and Linda have taken Lisa in as a daughter. Lisa's mom is dead, and she's NC with her dad and stepmom to try and help her through this as much as they can. Why did Lisa say it was all her fault, and why did she ban you from the funeral? Bob asks Buddy. What don't I know? What's the rest of the story? Why did Dick do it? The moment of ultimate revenge, Buddy thinks for a minute and decides that it will help Bob and Linda to understand the tragedy that happened to their son if they know the full story. So he tells them everything. Bob and Linda have continued to do everything for the three kids, and they continue to treat Lisa well, because that is best for the children, but the clock is ticking. Lisa's remarried now. When the kids are old enough, Bob and Linda will tell them the whole story. The youngest kid will be 18 soon. Buddy is still grieving over his friend. Summary. What did Buddy do to get revenge on his cheating ex-fiancé? Stayed friends with the guy who stole her, letting her know how important she was to him versus the friendship. Moved on and married someone smarter, nicer, and less pretty, letting her know how important her best quality, only good thing about her was to him. Had a hell of a successful career, causing her much jealous anguish. Had a massive glow-up between 30 and 40, causing her much jealous anguish. Had a terrific marriage, causing her much jealous anguish, and also letting her know that the problem in their relationship was not him. Respected her boundaries when she uninvited him to his best friend's funeral, causing best friend's dad to ask the fateful question that, ticks this over from karma to nuclear. Proof that living well is indeed the best revenge.